Natasha Hausdorf went on Piers Morgan and was not allowed to speak the truth. She was trying to bring out her point, and Piers decided to continuously treat her terribly. Check it out.
Israel has decided no journalists from outside can go in
for 3 reasons
and make that assessment themselves.
Yes.
What right does Israel have to do that?
For 3 reasons. Will you allow me to finish?
Well, there are no reasons.
Well, you've
It's
just
none
asked
of your business whether the journalists view their safety as being at risk.
I'm sorry, you haven't heard the reasons yet. The first, of course, is the safety
So he asked her a question. Then he screams at her, no, it's all bullshit.
of the journalist, and I appreciate you don't accept that. The second...
I think it's a load of nonsense.
The second is the safety...
The idea you're doing is that some quaint concern for the safety of journalists is bullshit.
That was reason number one. Reason
bullshit.
Reason number two is the ability...
These better get better.
...is the ability of IDF soldiers to be able to conduct this war against Hamas without...
without the journalists getting in the way?
No, without...
They've actually, by the way, they've killed more journalists, in Palestinian journalists, than in any war
Hamas
in
members
modern
wearing
history.
press vests are not journalists. And reason number three...
So none of them are journalists?
And reason number three...
So just to be clear, none of the Palestinian journalists who've been killed are actually journalists.
I said Hamas members.
Oh, they're all Hamas members?
Those that are... And
every
those that
single dead Palestinian journalist is a member of Hamas. Is that your position?
No, listen, I appreciate Piers.
That is also bullshit.
But misrepresenting...
No, I'm not letting you bullshit.
Misrepresenting every
So that's
word
2 out of 2. What's the third reason?
Our mutual...
Does he think if he just yells bullshit, it just makes him right? He comes off as such a... somebody that's not looking to have a normal debate, but somebody to have a gotcha moment. It's like, you don't look like you're winning here, Piers. You're just screaming bullshit.
Your friend Douglas Murray was embedded with the IDF in Lebanon.
You said the words yourself. I love Douglas, but he was embedded with the IDF.
Right.
He's unbelievably pro-Israel.
Let me finish.
So of course he was going to write what he witnessed while embedded with the IDF.
No, let me finish what his experiences there were. The difference is that
you don't have to tell me.
There is something I think that you won't have heard. The IDF are able to allow journalists into Lebanon. He wasn't the only one. There were many other international journalists with him.
There have been a tiny...
Those other international journalists with him were very clear.
There have been a tiny handful of journalists led in by the IDF in tightly controlled environments to witness what the IDF were prepared to let them see.
And you know what those journalists
actually, what it needs this war to stop the bullshit, which is out of control, by the way, in this last 3 minutes, is to let international journalists go in and do their jobs. And they will worry with their networks or organisations about their safety, but they should be allowed to do their jobs. And there's only one reason why the Israeli government doesn't want international journalists crawling all over Gaza. It's because they do not want them reporting what they will find. Which, by the way, will include...
No, because journalists often are pawns of bigger news networks that want to push a certain agenda. So when they see something happening, the first thing they'll do is report right away that this happened. And in reality, they probably twisted the narrative and made it a completely different thing. And you see this all the time. You see this with settler violence, right? Jewish man and Arab man get into a fight. Next thing you know, the next day, there's a whole Israeli settler attacks Arab in unprovoked attack, and they twist it and they make it seem like it's X when it's really Y. And Israel has to basically play catch up. And by the time they play catch up, like with the hospital bombing, like with the Gaza aid catastrophe that happened recently, by the time they play catch up, it's already too late. The media has already run with it, and the story is already out there, and a lot of people seem to believe it.
The bodies of thousands of children who you, on the Israeli side, are not counting as you count the terrorists you kill, but who journalists would.
Reason number three is that those journalists that were in Lebanon said that they had to be very careful about what they reported because of what Hezbollah would do to their colleagues in Beirut. The fact that international journalists have sunk to this level, that they would allow their reportage to be controlled by terrorist organizations, Iranian proxies, Hamas and Hezbollah included, is despicable. That is the real issue here that has driven
actually,
the international...
it's not. The real issue is...
Of course it is.
This
is terrorist organizations' propaganda.
Actually, it's not. Let me bring David.
And the fact that you will not allow me to answer a single question
You know what?
here
You've made all your points, and they all, I'm afraid,
Natasha, I certainly
turned out to
haven't
be
made all my
bullshit.
points.
So let me bring in Dave.
Unbelievable. I don't think she went 3 minutes without him interrupting her. That is not how you have a normal debate. And if you're going to be a host in a debate, which is supposed to be somebody that's unbiased, going to be checking both sides, then you shouldn't be spending 3 full minutes contradicting what somebody says without letting them say it first. I think that Piers has already shown that he is done with this, two-sided BS. He's sort of one-sided now, and on the Hamas propaganda side. For more, subscribe to the channel. If you want to help us make more of these videos, you can support us at buymeacoffee.com/Jewish Uncensored. Thank you for watching, and have a good one.